got to earn jobs. Don't care about the quetchy wool stuff. Alright. Pachoo! Pachoo! Flying around looking for jams. Alright, the stream has started. I'm really liking the Starlancer tag. It's really, really cool. Though I'm very curious about its sensor ranges. You know, I really wish I could stream Halo music, but apparently Twitch, and I'm going to assume also YouTube, they don't like that I would stream such copyrighted music. Even though it's ambient music, and there's like dozens upon hundreds, perhaps, of YouTube videos out there of just the songs itself. Oh, but if you're a little guy with little to no, following, it's forbidden. It's okay for the people who are very popular to do it because they have the followers. It is the way. But I just stream for funsies. Man, look at this shit. I couldn't help but get the Starlancer tag. But I did not like some of the amenity sacrifices it made compared to the Starlancer Max. So I upgraded my Constellation Andromeda to the Starlancer Max. Attackamite. Phenomedicine. Phenmelinasite. Melina. The Starlancer series, it's really nice ships. They take the looks that I like from the Freelancers and basically address the issues of the Freelancers being small and squished and basically just sizing it up. Ticks all the boxes for me. However, I was really excited for the Mirai Guardian MX when it was coming out. I was really looking forward to it, and I upgraded my Mirai Guardian QI to the MX. That was a mistake. A big mistake. I did not like... Well, I was willing to put up with the amenity sacrifice. Because, you know, it's like, oh, I'm going to be flying this around in my Polaris whenever I want to run a heavy fighter or something. It's no problem. I like the look of this thing. Plus, it's bristling with missiles. Even though I don't use missiles very much. It was a sacrifice I was willing to make. Ooh, what's this? I thought it was like a different gem. Glacocyte. It's the new Dolavine. Gross, icky Dolavine. But with the Mirai Guardian MX, I like that it had a deployable blast shield. I love that. Like, that was one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to get it. It also having 4 size 4s instead of 2 size 5s. Another reason why I wanted it. Because, you know, a little bit better DPS, honestly. Like, I kind of like that the Guardians can basically easily tap a... it just takes a few shots on a fighter to pop them. It's really nice, but it's kind of hard to get the shots on if you're not a very good aim, like me. Or not very good dogfighter, like me. But I was willing to, you know, make the sacrifice. But then, last night, it kind of kept me up too, because I saw Captain Foxy Loxy doing some tests with the MX, and turns out the Mirai Guardian MX doesn't even fit in the Polaris hangar because it's a bit too tall by like a few inches, and it gets squished down into the hangar. It's like, oh no, big no, sorry. That was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. But the problem was, there's no such thing as downgrading in Star Citizen. You can't backtrack an upgrade that you applied, and I'm pretty sure, and I'm not gonna bother the customer support team for such a small thing, even though to me it's not really that small. But like, there are more important things for them to be addressing for other people. But I had to do a lot of shuffling around, and now the Mirai Guardian MX is going to become a Starfarer Gemini whenever I get around to upgrading my current Gemini to something else. But man, I was really disappointed in that MX. Like, man, it was just a bit too chunky for its own good. The TAC was great. I love the TAC. I am going to miss my Andromeda, but I like the TAC and the Max more. Because I like the Andromeda. Oh, there we go. The Fein Meline. I heard people were suggesting that this was the gem to mine. Besides Hadanite. Hadanite is king upon gems. Fein Meline is next best thing, I guess. But like, I kept the Max because it has a, I don't have a medium ship. A ship of this size, that is. I consider this a medium ship. A ship of this size class, not large like a C2, but not small like a Hercules. I mean, like a Freelancer. There we go. So I opted for the in-between size class, like the Andromeda or the Starlancer, even though the Starlancer is a little bit bigger. But I chose the Starlancer Max over the Andromeda because, well, the Andromeda is being replaced by this ship, the TAC. Because it has the same size class guns for the front, size 4s, which is nice. It has 2 size 3 dorsal mounted turrets, while the Constellation only has 2 size 2 turrets, one on top, one on bottom. The bottom one having terrible firing arcs, by the way, and a snub fighter with 96 cargo SU cargo hold on the main ship. That's nice. It's a very good, versatile, multi-purpose gunship. But I chose the TAC over the Andromeda because the TAC, in my experience so far, it feels like it's slower, which is no big deal. But the TAC has bigger guns. It, I'm going to assume, has less missiles than the Andromeda, which is not a big deal to me personally. But it has a medical bay. It has some drop seats for some, like if you want to bring buddies and there's no extra seats up top. It has a really nice crew quarters area. It's not a cylindrical tube with hallways. The gems are up there. It was just more features. I am a feature person. I love features. If a ship is packed full of features, I'm gonna fall in love with it. That's why I'm in love with the Idris. But it's the kind of love where you can't get it, even though you want it. It's like the damsel up in the tower, and you're some lowly peasant. Like, I wish I could get you, but I'm not privileged. Which is fine. Whenever the Idris comes available to buy in-game, or whenever I get the finances to be able to afford an Idris while also not being financially inconvenienced by it at the same time, it'll be all the more satisfying and worth it. You gotta, like, the stuff you work for is nice. And here, I'm gonna stem into the topic of, like, buying ships with real money versus buying it in-game. Because some people would argue that, oh, buying the ship on the store defeats the purpose of playing the game. It's like, well, you don't know my situation. Like, I bought a lot of ships through the store, and I'm having a lot of fun with them. I'm still playing the game. Like, I don't have to earn my ships because I got the ships I want already, but it doesn't mean there's stuff I don't want to do, because I worked for my ships. Like, I don't really have a typical 9-to-5 job or whatever, so money is come and go, you could say. So whenever I do get monies and I'm able to buy one of these ships, it's incredibly rewarding, especially when it comes out to live and I get to finally play the ship that I've been wanting to get for so long. It's like, ah, yes, the hard work in real life has paid off because I can finally enjoy it in the game. And yet people want to make the game more cumbersome than it is. A game that's already cumbersome. There needs to be a balance, honestly. You have to pick and choose your battles. Pick and choose the size you want to play into and whatnot. It's very messy and tricky. Because I do agree, ships should be purchasable in-game. And you should not have to rely on selling ships on the store, because people like to throw nuance out the window and basically, oh, it's pay to win. It's like, you're not wrong, but at the same time, there's a lot more to it than that. So you're kind of being intellectually dishonest when you just say it's just blatantly pay to win. And I'm not defending it either. It's just, you gotta be honest in the situation and acknowledge both sides of the facet of the conversation. Which a lot of people, especially in Spectrum, kind of don't do, because they're on there to win internet arguments, because they feel like their armchair developer knowledge, know-how, or opinions matter more than others. Because I kind of do that too every now and then, but I do it only because I want to share my opinion. I don't go to someone's random thread, like shit talk them because they think differently than me. It's like, here is my constructive criticism on this thing or whatever. It is cool. I like this. You make good points. This and that. While the majority of people are be like, no, you're wrong. Go. But I mean, hey, that's internet for me. How has the game changed since last stream? Oh, it's changed a lot, actually. It's much more playable now, and that's heavily emphasizing on the like now, as in it's kind of iffy here and there, and it's better now than 4.0 or in 4.1, but it could get better. It could be better and whatnot, but I'm certainly enjoying myself. I like doing the gem mining. And gem mining finally works for the most part. Like, I could finally go to these rock deposits, break the gems and collect them, and eventually sell them for monies. Is it just me, or do these rocks, these gems, look like meth? This looks like something Walter White would cook up in their little RV in the backyard. Ooh, what was that? Oh, never mind. But man, one person I know who I've been playing with in his little group, he has an Idris, and we've been playing around with it, and oh man, it's so nice. That's my dream ship. The Javelin, that's awesome. Kraken's pretty cool and whatnot, but like, man, the Idris is like, that was the ship that I was dreaming of whenever I first laid my eyes on Star Citizen. The big Chungus carrier frigate. I'm not a big combat person. I would use that for patrol, like just exploration and cargo runs, even though it'd be extremely inefficient. But with the terms of the game's stability and playability, I think it's gotten better. Like, granted, it's currently during a free fly event where people who don't own the game but have accounts on the Star Citizen store or a Star Citizen website. Uh-oh. I wasn't paying attention. But yeah, during it's currently there's a free fly right now, so people can play the game if they want for free for a bit until the the event ends, which is cool. I like it, and it's an ideal time for them to stress test their service. But the problem with the free flies is that it tanks the game's overall performance. That's just a aspect of Star Citizen that we have all just come to what's it called? Acceptance. And honestly, it's actually pretty nice. Like, I play a lot of Invictus events and whatnot, the free flies, and man, this is much better than it used to be. And honestly, it's the server meshing. Like, that is like the best thing that's ever come to this game so far. These delicious gems, these questionable gems. They're spreading around. I had a Atlas Geo, but I melted it for store credit because it's Invictus. Now's the time to, if you want to upgrade ships and stuff, now's the time to do it. Because ships that are usually not on sale go on sale. And that's only if you're financially irresponsible like me. I'm getting better, I think. I like to think. Heat suit, they say. I say nay. I don't need no heat suit. Boy, my internal body temperature's going up faster now. I think I'll need to sit in the ship a little bit longer. Yeah, server meshing. Essentially, what CIG have done is they've broken up the overall game into multiple little servers that basically interact with each other. And essentially, what happens is, like, let's say the moon I'm on has little to no one running around on the moon. That means my performance and stability is going to be great. While, let's say, the Invictus Hall over at ArcCorp across the system, that's its own server, and everyone's over there doing stuff, running around, checking things out. The stability and performance takes a big dive. But because of server meshing, because I'm over here and nowhere over there, and not in that server node or whatever, I don't get to see any of that impact. So if that server ends up crashing, like the server that runs ArcCorp crashes for some reason, I'll be perfectly fine and unaffected. That's like my basic primitive knowledge and understanding of how the server meshing works. There's a lot more nuance to it, I believe, but that's just a basic rundown, I guess. CIG are currently planning on doing dynamic server meshing, and that's the server meshing stuff that we're all waiting for, pretty much, where when a server is dying or dies or is about to die, a new server is spooled up and takes that server's place, transferring everyone who is in the dying server into the new server, so that way they avoid a server crash experience entirely, and vice versa. Or if there's no one in this area, they spin down, like turn off those servers, or like they put them on idle or whatever, until someone goes into those server areas, and then vice versa, to basically optimize and improve overall performance. Really cool stuff. It sounds pretty cool. Sounds very technologically uh, complicated, but I mean, they actually managed to deliver on server meshing, so I'm pretty sure they'll be able to deliver on the dynamic stuff. It's gonna be pretty cool though. In terms of overall playability, this game is way more playable now. Now it's just a matter of stuff to do, and it seems like they're actually addressing that a bit. Like they added some more missions in this current update, and people are already starting to leak the Evocati stuff for the next big update, which is already in the works. And apparently there's going to be even more missions being added in that one. And that's what I want, personally, when it comes to content, them working on Star Citizen. More missions. Add more missions to this game. More missions, and work on your ship backlog. And it's not taking the priority of new features too high, but, I mean, having new features is nice and all in this kind of game, but what are the missions like? It just depends. Like, I know that they added a bunch of new PvE missions, or mercenary missions, and some new bounty missions. They also brought back player bounty missions, though I think it bugged or something, and I haven't seen any of them anymore, or I guess because I'm not... there was a bug where everyone had bounty missions. I don't know. There was some weird stuff going on when the update first went live. Like, you go to the bounty hunter mission list, and there was just a list full of player names. But I think they fixed it or something. No, but yeah, they're adding a lot more missions and stuff to do. I heard that they added back box delivery missions, where you go to pick up a box from point A, and then you fly it to point B and put it in the little delivery slot. But I don't know how to access those missions. That's okay though. I think they're only in Pyro, now that I'm thinking about it. I don't go to Pyro. I am a not PvP person. I don't like PvP. I don't hate it, I just don't care for it. But it's getting there. Like, that's honestly, with the way they're developing and working on this game right now, it feels like it's in the beta phase, even though it's still pre-alpha. I mean, hey, just do what you gotta do, honestly. Just keep pumping out those updates, keep adding content for us to do, and I mean, hey, like, this is what I'll always say, is that this game just needs more stuff to do and more stability. When you get those things down for Star Citizen, people are just going to like this game. And at this point in time, this game is starting to shape up to be more content packed than your typical yeah, it's been like, well, at this point I guess you could say 13 years plus. But there's a lot of nuance to its development situation. Like, think of a ever so, like, a continuously escalating kind of thing, where it starts off slow and then starts to grow more and more. Yeah, since 2016 or something like that. 2015. I think it was 2014 when it was, like, first announced or something. Like, good 12, 13 years. But I'm not one to complain about the performance and stuff, or not performance, the development situation, because I'm actually able to play this finally after waiting for so long. But I could give a quick rundown of the development situation if you're interested. It's very interesting, because with Star Citizen, the problem with... Hang on, what is it? Oh, it's a gem. It's... Why is it all the way over there? No, but yeah, so with Star Citizen, when they first announced the project, it was initially planned to be some sort of, like, small scale... Ooh, yeah, this is really intense. My little rover vehicle does not have air conditioning. But the development of Star Citizen was very small scale. It's just a handful of devs at first, like Chris Roberts, some other developers that I can't remember off the top of my head, and whatnot. And essentially, over time, as they got more and more money from their Kickstarter, more people started to get coming onto the project. I was trying to fit a G in that word for some reason. As they grew their team, they grew in scale, and they started increasing more feature. Like they started to promise more features, increasing the scope of the game. This game is one of the peak examples of what it's like for a project to have crippling feature creep. And I say crippling because this game, and compared to other modern standards of development, should have been done by now. Like 5-6 years ago, should have been done. But honestly, I don't care about the standard. I could care less. All I care about are results, and I'm liking the results. But so, essentially, the PU, the game that we all play, wasn't even initially concepted at first, because it didn't even exist. Because they were promising a single-player game, Squadron 42. And that was the main focus of the development. But they kept growing more and more money, not delivering any sort of, like, stuff, because development takes a lot of time and money. So essentially, over time, they decided to make like this little hangar module thing where you get to see your fancy ships in 3D, run around your hangar, check it out, so that way it wasn't just a fancy JPEG in your hangar list. And it just kept growing from there. They eventually added more to it. We got station and more stuff, and you got some more moons. You could fly to the moons, and then yeah, it started to just kept growing and scaling, growing, and just in general, the team started to grow more. They started to bring in more money. Yeah, so and another thing that a lot of people don't seem to, they either don't know about or they don't acknowledge is the majority of the money and the majority of the development time that CIG has like basically spent over the like almost the entirety of the development process was on tech. Like the majority of it was tech to develop Squadron 42 and tech to develop the PU. This feature creep didn't destroy the company, at least unlike once or yeah. But unfortunately, it is still really bad feature creep, and the pressure is already starting to set in for CIG. They are starting to get desperate for money to where they're resorting to selling out, as people are saying, where CIG are selling bomb racks, flight blades for ships, and some other stuff that I can't remember. What was it? It was a third thing. I can't remember the third thing. But essentially, yeah, people are very upset about the flight blades and bomb racks. And justifiably so. I personally don't like it either. But I understand why they're doing it, though. That's one reason why I'm not too upset about it. Like, I'm not pleased about it. They need to not do that. They need more backlash, honestly. Like, I'm not going to like rip someone's head off for saying I like the bomb racks, or oh, I don't like the bomb. Like I don't care. One thing I will say about the matter is that people just need to voice their displeasures about the situation and give CIG pushback, a lot of it, and not go crazy about it either. Oh, look at that! Hello. There we go. Oh, okay. I was like, I scuffed my ship's paint. No, but you know, like, people are treating this like some sort of absolute evil. Okay, yeah, I get it. They squander the trust of the community. It's big bad. They shouldn't have done it. Yes. However, at the same time, why is this suddenly not bad when other game development companies do this all the time? It's like they do worse things. Some game devs, like, well, I don't know if they still do it, but like, heck, Activision, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, or whatever that recent Call of Duty game release was. They sell AI-generated stuff. How is that flying under the radar when it comes to, like, game development drama, when this basically sparks everyone's concerns? It's like, people are being replaced by AI-generated slop and algorithms. Meanwhile, CIG are just desperate for money and are just basically stepping on the community's toes. It's like, it's not bad. I'm not defending it, but at the same time, like, it's like uneven application of the prejudice when it comes to this kind of thing. Oh yeah, it's like, it's all a very messy situation, and honestly, in a way, it's a good thing, because CIG already backtracked on the way they've approached it. Like, people aren't happy about their backtrack, but the backtrack is basically, oh, we're not going to do this again, as in, when a new feature like a bomb rack or Flight Blade comes out, it's going to go live, and we're just going to sell that thing alongside it with the after it goes live, or after it goes live, we'll sell it. During or after, essentially, is when they're going to sell it. Because currently, the reason why people are upset is not about what it does. It's the principle of the matter, how they're selling game content that should be in the game in the first place. That's the whole reason why people are upset. And not what it is, it's why it is. If that makes sense. But, essentially, it was a really silly thing where, oh, we're selling these bomb racks and Flight Blades, and they're going to be available in game just a few months after we sell them. So a few months after this, we're gonna sell it on the store. It's like, that's really shitty, CIG. Don't do that. And look, it blew up in their face, and they learned a lesson. But I'm less concerned about their greed and more concerned about the motive. Like, greed, it's easy to say, oh, they're just being greedy. Like, no, there's a reason why they did this. Because for years, a decade, they didn't do this. At least not on this kind of level. And it's really it's really showing how their current business model is very unsustainable. They're not bringing enough people in. And their choice and decision to focus more on improving the playability of this game is really showing how it's showing their priorities. And in a way, it's a good thing, because for the longest time, this game has been nothing but a glorified tech demo that's just fun to hop in and play here and there. Like, there was no meaning behind playing. It's just hop in, enjoy your little 3D spaceship, do some activities, and then you're done. It's like you're going to the sandbox to build a sandcastle, and then, okay, I'm bored, I'm done. I want to go play in the swimming pool now, and whatnot. So essentially, they're deciding, okay, so instead of powering and pumping out more and more new features for this game, we're going to take a break from that, still work on new features alongside it, just we're going to focus all our energy into adding more playability and stability to this game. That's basically my basic understanding of the whole thing. Come and go, give or take. And I think it's a really good decision, because this game has been out for a very long time. It needs more stuff to give people a reason to play it, because a lot of businesses, especially AAA businesses, the AAA games in particular, they don't seem to understand of if you deliver a fun and good product, people will want to buy more of it. It's a funny concept. You produce good quality stuff, or you produce stuff that people like, they're going to be more willing to spend money for it. And there's no need for psychological manipulation tactics to get people to maximize how much money they spend. If they're having a good time, they'll be more inclined to spend. Like, I'm not justifying them selling these massively expensive ships to people, but it's just a matter of, if you want people to spend more money on your project, you need to make the game that they can play now more fun and more worth their time, so that way they can justify spending money on your project. That's just my whole take on the situation. Like, and I think it's pretty reasonable too. Like, we could all agree, we all see, and I'm pretty. How much are these ships? Okay, so to give you an example of how much this ship costs, the TAC, let's just say triple digit. There. And yeah. And I will say, the reason why I have this ship, and the reason why I have a lot of other ships that are pretty expensive, is because I've been putting gradual investments, $20 here, $20 there, occasional $50, and once in a very rare blue moon, $100. Because I like the project, and I believe in it. But I will never buy one of these ships full price out of my wallet. I will just basically put it on some sort of like list for me to look at later, like my wish list of ships, and then I'll just start buying, exchanging, and reallocating currently invested funds so I could get this. It's like stock jumbling or whatever. But yeah, so if they want people to buy their fancy and expensive spaceships, they need to make it more worthwhile their time, you know. Or instead of that, well, actually, yeah, because you could buy these ships in game. Like the one I'm flying, you can't, because they have this thing where when a ship is newly released to the game, it's gonna release in like the next patch or the patch after that, like every other patch. So ship drops in patch B, or like let's say a ship drops in patch 1.1. The next ship, the next time, like let's say 1.3. So it goes from 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3. 1.3 is when that new ship that was added a while ago is going to come available in game. I'm okay with it. They've been doing that ever since the beginning. But yeah, so like their ships are really expensive, and average people, casual game enjoyers, don't have that kind of money and are not whales, and are more invested in their time than some game like this time. Like if the game doesn't respect their time, they're going to be less inclined to playing it. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. It's like game 101. Like, I'm not opposed personally to the ship prices in the game, because the way it's mainly because of the way I went about buying the ships that I want without actually giving CIG hundreds, if not thousands of dollars out of my pocket right away, because I didn't have that money. I do commission work, I do character art for people here and there, so money kind of becomes scarce, and it's more of a luxury, if anything. So the way I went about it is, oh, they added this new ship. I have this ship that costs $45, and it costs $30 to upgrade to the new ship. Okay, now the ship is worth $75, and like, oh, this new ship they added, or this other ship that I want, is like $100. Oh, it just costs $25 for you to upgrade my. You see where I'm going? Like just this upgrading, and then, oh, I want this new ship, but it's cheaper, or I want to get this pack that I could actually afford. by spending like maybe $20 out of the pocket if I melt my current ship. Because when you melt ships in the website, because when you go to buy your ships and whatnot, basically you can exchange those ships for store credit, and you can buy ships with that store credit. So if you put down $75, not including tax, when you melt it, you're going to get that $75 back in store credit. So it basically provides opportunities to reallocate your funds, so that way you can distribute those funds to either multiples of one ship or one big expensive ship. That's basically how I've been juggling my money every now and then, here and there. That's what they call Star Citizen a very expensive hobby, I guess you could say. I mean, hey, I've seen people spend way more money on worse things, so I will not judge, and those who judge me, I do not care. Because we all have our little vices. And my vice is video games. And it's not just Star Citizen, by the way. I spend my money on other video game things too. War Thunder, oh my goodness. Honestly, no. Maybe. I don't know. I narrow my eyes questionably about how much money I spent in War Thunder. I don't like to think about it. I have more fun in Star Citizen, that's why I'm like, okay, I don't regret spending my money in this game. Because I actually like this. Meanwhile, in War Thunder, I'm like, the devs are shit. They don't listen to the community. They keep adding things that I don't like. They keep shitting on everything. We can't have nice things. Yeah, I still play it. It's like a love-hate relationship. But yeah. But honestly, I've seen worse projects. I've seen worse situations. Heck, I mean, the situation with Bungie right now, I would not want to be the person running Bungie right now. Let's just say that. Bungie is on a path of destruction. Or they've been set onto a path of destruction where they're going to basically flop. That's my prediction. It's not looking good for them. Honestly, I don't like saying that either. I know. I love Bungie. I love Halo. I grew up on Halo. And I love Bungie. Up until Destiny. And the sad reality with Bungie is the Bungie I knew and loved had died years ago. And right now it's just a shell of what it used to be. They're riding on the popularity of Destiny and the fact that they made Halo, even though all of the original Bungie devs that made Bungie are now gone. There's, I believe, only one original Bungie guy left, and that was the guy who used to be a Microsoft employee or something like that. And he's running the show now, and he's one of the main reasons why the company is tanking, because he has a very money-first mentality, when Bungie had a more fun and player-first mentality. In talking about the overall team, because that guy was used as like some sort of like what, Microsoft negotiator, because Microsoft was really screwing Bungie over back then. You gotta love it. Publishers and businesses and all that stuff. You know, circling back to Star Citizen, people like to shed on all the time about how long it's been taking for Star Citizen to develop and to make. And yeah, I agree in some points. It's kind of inexcusable in some way. But I will say, I'm glad that they don't have to answer to any sort of big big publishers or whatever, or investors even. Because they're gonna, like, they kind of are currently, but just not as bad, not as big. Like, let's say, like how Bungie, for example, how they have to meet investors' payments and stuff, and it's like, same thing with Ubisoft and all the other AAA studios. When they make a game, they don't make it because they want to make a smash product. They don't want to make it because they know it's going to be fun and good for the players. They're making games so that way they can appease their investors that are giving them money to make these games. And those investors are like loan sharks. You don't pay them back, they're gonna come after your knees. And in a way, that's kind of what's happening to Ubisoft. At the same time, Ubisoft is trying to screw the investors over, and at the same time, so it's like a screw. They're both screwing each over. So, but yeah, like because CIG doesn't have to like appease the ever so benevolent investors and publishers. They could just take as long as they want because the community just keeps giving them money. And I like that because we have ships like this that are completely unnecessary, but it's nice and cool to have. Because, oh, thank goodness Valve is not publicly traded. You know what? Or speaking about publicly traded companies, you know what makes me really sad is how Discord is trying to basically move over to becoming a publicly traded company. I don't like that. I really do not like that at all. Because what's going to happen if they become a publicly traded company is that they're going to have to start meeting financial quotas. They have to pay investors who buy into their stock and whatnot. And in a way, it means Discord gets to exist longer. But at the same time, there's going to be more strings attached, more controls, more censorship. No, they weren't. For the longest time, they were a private thing. But now, recently, they're trying to become a publicly traded entity. Which, I'm basically screaming in my mind, Discord, please don't give the keys away to something you have. It's not perfect. Discord's not perfect by any means, and they've done some flops here and there, and let's not even address their terrible security infrastructure, because scams and hacks and whatnot are very prevalent in Discord. But I mean, who's to say anywhere else is better, right? But I just don't like publicly traded companies in general. And it's not because I hate big companies and whatnot. It's because I'm a very consumer-first person. I care about if it starts sucking balls and someone comes around and makes... Yeah, I mean, I think that was the case with Skype for a while. Skype was really shitty. And I guess they made Discord as an alternative to Skype. And in my opinion, it kind of killed Skype. Because back then, we pretty much only had Skype and... we only really had Skype and TeamSpeak. TeamSpeak is still around, but... does anyone use Skype anymore? Here, I have to step away for a quick second. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna put the camera this way. I hope nothing bad happens to me while I'm AFK. It won't be long. It'll just be a few minutes. And I has returned. I had to use the restroom. I've been holding it for like an hour. Man, this ship is so nice. No, but yeah. I don't trust publicly traded companies because they do not put customers first. They put their finances first. Customers are just mere numbers to them. Not to get political or talk about politics and whatnot, but I personally do not like health insurance companies. I just don't trust them because a lot of them are publicly traded and that they have to answer to investors and investment companies. And I heard somewhere, someone made a good point. Trying to remember it. Investors, insurance. You can't trust a publicly traded health insurance company because ultimately they answer to their investors. And they do not care about the customer. I mean, it's just a good rule of thumb, really. Like, if they're publicly traded, know what you're getting into, right? It's like sometimes some things are just necessities, and if you might not like it, but you have to just make do with what you have in front of you, and just go with it. Just be aware and whatnot, yeah? But I mean, it's similar. We all have that kind of sentiment, though, I think. I would like to think. Because when people think of big companies, I'm going to circle back to the game development stuff, since that's more lighthearted than real life stuff. But, because CIG is not a publicly traded game developer, we are beset with what we have now. Also, I don't know if y'all know, I'm pretty sure y'all do. I'm pretty sure y'all have seen the preview of gameplay that they did last year's CitizenCon, whatever, because it's been all over the place since it was released, of how they released like an hour's worth of game content for Squadron 42. And for me personally, that's big news. I mean, that's why it exploded everywhere, is because CIG is very tight-knit, lock and key when it comes to Squadron 42 details. They really do not like leaking or sharing anything on Squadron 42. And that's because Chris Roberts is a very cinematic, game-first kind of person. He does not like spoilers. He hates them. And Squadron 42 is his baby. And he wants Squadron 42 to be the next Wing Commander. Because that's what he's been chasing after for the last decade or two. And essentially, Squadron 42 is his baby. It will be his new Wing Commander game. Because Chris Roberts is the guy who made the Wing Commander games, if you guys didn't know. When I first found out about Star Citizen, I didn't even know it was by Chris Roberts, and I didn't even know he made Squadron 42. It's very exciting when you find these things out. But what's cool about that whole spiel and the stuff that we're getting now is that Squadron 42 is finally coming to a conclusion of its development. They said it's finally feature complete. That means no new features are being added, which also means it's not going to be stuck in development hell for the next few more years, like everyone likes to joke about. I joke about it too, but it's like it's finally feature complete. Now it's just a matter of refining the gameplay and polishing it, which means play testing and ironing the development out, finishing the stuff, It's very exciting because they provided a date. And this is something that CIG has learned not to do since 2016, and that is to provide a release date. Because they're notorious for missing the release dates. Honestly, it would not surprise me at all if they missed this new release date that they finally set. They set the release date for 2026, which everyone is assuming they're going to release it around CitizenCon or something. Some sort of big event. I'm going to assume CitizenCon. Because it makes sense. Makes the most sense. Because I'm trying to remember, I had a brain malfunctioning. It's like a system malfunction. The Windows blue screen of doom. But yeah. It's big news. They set the release date to 2026. They did say it's a release date. That's something that we all need to remember. And I think a lot of people, especially in the Star Citizen community, need to acknowledge as well, is that they just slapped a date up there. Everyone's assuming it's going to release in 2026. I mean, it makes sense. They're in the polishing phase. It shouldn't take 5 years for a game to be polished. But it's CIG. It's Chris Roberts. It would not surprise me one bit. I will not be screaming to the moonlight, tears like waterfalls from my eyes, if we get another delay. I mean, I'm going to be more disappointed. But, I mean, that all depends on how well they're working up Star Citizen, really, the PU. But, I mean, honestly, I don't think they could really afford another delay. Because I'm going to circle back to the whole, like, struggling for money situation that they're in right now. Because I've seen that people make these points many times, and they are really valid points that make a lot of sense. CIG cannot afford to delay Squadron 42 again, or they cannot afford to miss the release date that they basically teased, because one, it would basically ruin all goodwill that people are still holding on to for CIG. Like, people are waiting for Squadron 42. It's the sentiment that we're all, like, holding on to and whatnot. Like, you don't screw the people over who are giving you money. That's, like, the biggest life lesson to learn. Don't screw them over, because they're the ones giving you money. And the Star Citizen community are the ones who give them money. So, them delaying it is going to be a big screw you, but at the same time, they financially cannot afford for it to be delayed. They need it to come out so that way they could get a new avenue stream of money to where it's not entirely reliant on turbulent ship sale whatnot. Ship sales are turbulent. They keep making more and more money each year. It is a fact, but they're not hoarding all the money, at least the majority of the money. But in fact, they are spending the money. They're spending a lot of the money on development. A lot of money on development. Because they've got to the game has got to a point where it's very expensive to develop. This game is a financial nightmare for any other studio, especially a AAA studio. Like, no investor will touch this kind of project with a 10-foot pole. No, not a 50-mile pole. They wouldn't even touch it, because there's no immediate returns. It's not instant gratification, and that's all. What, did someone fire something in the game, or did someone get fired or something, like on the conversation topic? Because I was firing my laser to collect these gems, and I was driving around, so it probably sounded like a gunshot. In-game. Yeah, no. That's just me firing my little laser, my little collection laser, and driving the buggy around. Ooh. But, yeah. So, CIG, and I'm pretty sure they know this full well, that they cannot afford to delay Squadron 42, and that they need it out the door now because their development costs are escalating and they need a more stable, more reliable income stream. And if you think about it, the potential money that they could earn off of Squadron 42 alone, if the game turns out to be a smash hit, and I'm not even talking about like a smash hit like, let's say, Power World levels of smash hit. I'm talking about like the game releases and it's playable. Like the game, like, I'm going to be unfair and I'm going to use Doom, the new Doom game. The Doom game that everyone is excited for, and it looks really awesome. But the launch was shoddy because the game would crash, it would freeze, it was terrible, at least from what I've been hearing a lot of people from. And granted, it's a problem that could be easily fixed over time or in like a patch or two after the release. But if CIG can get the performance and playability down before the game releases and it's actually a playable game like games used to be, then oh my goodness, imagine all the money they can make. Like, heck, if they sell Squadron 42 for like $45, $50, heck, maybe $60, $75 is pushing it for me personally, but if they sold that game for around that much, in that price bracket, 40 to 75, they will make a killing. Heck, even if it's just $45, they would make a massive killing financially. To where I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have to rely on ship sales. I mean, I'm being very optimistic in that kind of a, like, assumption. But, like, just look at the hype. Like, how much money did Power World rake in when it went live? It's like hundreds of millions of dollars or something like that. I mean, Star Citizen has raised a butt ton of money over the years, but Power World was able to raise almost, not almost, but like a quarter of that in a few months or something like that. I don't know. My knowledge is very generic and vague. I cannot recall a very 100% accurate telling. It's just very generic, generalized information off the top of my head, so take it with a grain of salt. But if like they could deliver a really good playable single player experience, oh my goodness, it'd be very popular. It probably will be of the hype that people were hyping Starfield up. Like, they were calling it the Star Citizen killer, even though it fell flat on its face and into a pile of mud in that kind of regard. Like, they screwed the pooch. It's bad. It's very bad. I mean, heck, I tried playing Starfield again recently. I just didn't have it in me to play it again, really. I tried. I really tried. I even got some mods installed, especially mods that let me customize my ship the way I want, like putting doors where I wanted them to be instead of being randomly auto-generated. I just didn't have it in me to keep it installed and keep playing. It just grew very boring. Like, it was fun and intriguing and time investing the first time around, but after that, whatever. I'd rather play Fallout 4 at that point, or some other game. And I'm not even trying to be mean or disrespectful towards Starfield, it's just, it was disappointing. I mean, it had its ups and downs. I had fun playing it. I was expecting it to be the worst game to be anticipated for, because Bethesda, they released Fallout 76, one of gaming's most notoriously horrible launches ever, besides No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk. But I mean, it's whatever. But if CIG can avoid such launch disaster, they will be in the clear. And that is just my ideal scenario for that situation. Life has many surprises in store for us, and I'm pretty sure it's not going to play all that well for CIG. And I hope that's not the case, because I really look forward to Squadron 42. I've been waiting for years for that game. I'm pretty sure a butt ton of people in my situation is also waiting. Like, really, really waiting. Oh, my music has stopped playing. Let me address that really quick. There. I like putting on music in the background. Oh, I gotta go back into my ship again. I do need to get a heat suit for my guy, so I'm not dying of heat stroke. I just forgot it back at the hangar. But yeah, I mean, sorry going on a big old tangent about Star Citizen based off of your initial question about it, but yeah, the game is getting there. It's pretty good. I really like it, and it's getting better. I mean, heck, I played this game back when it was just Port Olisar and Hurston in the moons, like Crusader, Hurston, Levski, and that was it. And man, the game has came so far now. It's like a whole different game at this point. Like, it's completely unrecognizable to the game it used to be, which is a good thing. I do miss the OG station, Port Olisar, but the closest we could get to remnants to that station is the little holographic display at this new place called Wickelow's Trade Emporium or something like that. You collect things and you bring it to this alien guy, and he will give you goodies in exchange for other goodies, and it's kind of nice. I like the little scavenger hunt thing. My only criticism with that is I do not like how a lot of the cool and worthwhile stuff is locked behind a item that can only be obtained during a certain sandbox event that can be easily interdicted by players. Like, that's just me being the anti-PvPer when it comes to these kinds of games. Like, I don't like people bothering me when I'm doing stuff. Like, even, I mean, that's just me. That's why I don't go to Pyro. Because I don't want to get raffle stomped by some rando murder hobo that just wants to satiate their bloodlust. Or just blow someone up because, haha, it's funny. I mean, I get it. I'm not going to criticize them about it, but, like, it's not my thing, and if you kill me, even though I did nothing wrong or nothing to you to provoke you or whatnot, I'm going to just get pissed and inconvened. Which, I mean, some people do that because that's what they want. That's what they find fun. They love trolling people. Like, people, I don't know why, but some people just like to be little shitheads and ruin other people's day because it makes them feel good about themselves. And I guess you do you. Just leave me be. Oh, and by the way, don't talk about PvP versus, like, PvP and PvE when it comes to Star Citizen on their forum threads, like the Spectrum is what it's called. It's basically like Reddit, but it's for Star Citizen. That's not affiliated with Reddit. But anyways, if you say anything negative about PvP or PvE, or say you want this for PvE or this for PvP, you're going to piss off a lot of people, because people have this misconstrued notion of what this game can and should be to their perspective. They want the game to be PvE only or PvP only. If you say you don't like PvP, they'll tell you stop playing Star Citizen and play something else. And the same thing will be said by the same on the people of the other side. The PvEers, like, I don't like there being too much PvE, or I don't like that this thing's locked behind PvE, or this or that, or not enough people are doing PvE. I mean, PvP. PvEers will say, oh, you're playing the wrong game, go play something else. It's like, it's really reductive. It's unproductive, reductive. It's not good. It's like a bucket of crabs. Spectrum is. Like, they're all just dragging each other down, even though we all like the same thing, and that is Star Citizen. People seem to forget that, like, we have something in common. We like Star Citizen. Why can't we just get along with that sole fact? You like the same ships I like, or this or that. We just like things in different ways. And, like, there's this notion, like, the multi-crew situation as well. Oh, don't dare say, oh, I want this big ship and I want to fly by myself, because you're going to get you're going to get dogpiled by people saying, like, oh, big ship shouldn't be solo crewable. You need crew to play with you, and, like, you need this or that, or this ship, or you just, like, it's like, one, you have no say or sway on what people do with their money. If they want to buy a big ship and dare fly it by themselves, let them. Who gives a shit? Like, who cares? Oh, hang on. No, but yeah, like, this, like, I love the Star Citizen community. It's a great community, but when it comes to stuff for Star Citizen itself, like features, content, and what people like or don't like, people are very opinionated. It's like a bunch of hens in a coop, just clucking along and just, I don't know, just drama this, drama that. Oh, CIG released this thing. We need drama. Has this game been buggy for you after maintenance? Actually, funny enough, not really. Like, well, not entirely true. I visited an outpost recently on Aberdeen to get my ground vehicles, and the Platinum Bay kiosk shed was not there. I saw the pad's graphics, the little graphical things on the ground, but the pads and the building itself was just gone. It was a ghost. Oh, I'm guessing something's going on with PvP, like player registry, like damage or something. I'm collecting the gems. I'm getting the gems like the Bentley Bear. Because it would not surprise you that there's still a lot of bugs going on. Because it's still Invictus. Still Invictus, and a lot of people are playing because the free fly. Like, tanking the servers. Servers are just chugging. Gems are scattered all over the place. And I'm dying. Alright, so, I'll head back to my well, after I finish this batch of gems, I'm gonna go back to my hangar and collect my suit. My heat suit. Oh, inventory has been bugged all morning. Oh, that's unfortunate. That really stinks. I haven't had any issues with the inventory today so far, but that's because I haven't really messed with it yet. I did notice one funny thing, and that was last night I was playing with someone. I dropped the knife on the ground for them so that they could get it, but the knife just disappeared. It wasn't on my guy, not in my inventory, and it was just gone. And then this morning when I hopped on, I was checking my stuff. I had the knife equipped on me that I didn't equip. So there probably is something going on with the inventory. Here, I can ask global chat really quick if you like. Is the personal inventory system buggy at all? Working at all? Working properly today? Question mark. Let's see what the public notion is. If they even reply to it. Man, I kind of miss the low player numbers for the servers. Because if you asked a question for help or whatever, or advice or something someone would actually get back to you because they actually saw your comment in the global. Dragon Blaze. Yeah, no, they didn't see it. Oh well. Sorry, I tried. I'll try again in a second after I finish collecting these gems. But I'm sure there's some sort of workaround with that personal inventory system situation. Because what I like to do whenever it stops working for me is I just brute force it. It just breaks it more, but it makes me feel better about myself. Makes me feel like I'm doing something. Like when you take a hammer to it, oh, not a hammer, but when you smack a television with your hand to make it work better. I did that, and it didn't do anything, but it was satisfying. Hey, Malene. I should try something more chill, but let the game come to Twitch. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, if you're doing PvP, I completely understand why you took a break from it. Because, I could imagine you're trying to square down with someone, PvP, like shooting them down or whatever you're doing, and the stuff just wasn't working. Heck, when I'm doing the bunker missions and my guy, like few years ago when you try to reload your gun, even though it still happens now, like you're trying to reload your gun, he just takes the magazine out and sticks it back in. It's like, it gets very frustrating. I completely understand you. Maybe try doing something more, yeah, like you said, chill. Like, try some gem mining maybe. If that's not your cup of tea, maybe you could go and shoot up some NPC ships and some bounties, or shoot players. Shoot some random people floating around the OM points, maybe. Like, I always hate it when that happens to me, but people have been leaving derelict ships everywhere, so there's stuff to shoot, I guess. Or, I mean, if they're sitting AFK and you shoot them, it wakes them up and they get going. And they're not cluttering the OM points. But that's just me. When it comes to PvP or PvP adjacent content, I'm not very that familiar. Family. I am easily pleased. I like to do the gem minings. Can I lose my ship? Yes. Well, actually, no. So, the way ship loss works is your ship explodes, you just go to your little hangar, go back to your hangar and go on the little kiosk and it'll say, put a claim on your ship, and you click claim and it basically, yeah, you don't lose your ships. Now, yes, you can, on the other hand, if you buy your ships in-game with in-game monies. You buy a ship in-game and let's say they need to do a data wipe for the server for some reason. So they will wipe the slate clean and all the ships you bought in-game would be wiped because that would count to being part of the stuff that they need to wipe out, which is understandable. Me personally, I don't mind it too much when it happens because it reignites my motivation to play the game again after I reached a certain point. But with ships that you buy with real money, no matter how big or small or how cheap or expensive it is, you will not lose it. You better not lose it. That would be really bad. But yeah, so ships you buy with real money, they stay forever. Ships you buy with in-game money, you don't lose them unless they do a server data wipe. And they rarely do those data wipes anyway. They only really do them when they need to, let's say they're adding something that basically shakes up the economy, or there was a bug that basically... Heck, one of the reasons why they did a recent data wipe was because the personal inventory system, people had items that were buggy or incompatible with code or something. There was something that had to do with what people had in their inventories, and they needed to do a wipe to basically fix the servers. Why they're not treated the same? In a way they are, and they're not, if that makes any sense. When you buy the ship in game, they are treated the same way as they are currently with store-bought ships, with almost to every single sense, except when the server wipes, because the ships that you bought in-game are stored in the in-game servers, those are subject to be wiped, and they will be wiped and removed. I mean, it stinks, but at the same time, there are legitimate reasons why they do it. I don't really make too much of a fuss about it, because currently, it's really not all too hard to earn money in this game. And there are a lot of notorious money glitches and bugs and duplicate processes of where you could just cheese money easy. So for a lot of people, especially who know these systems, or just who know how to play the game right, they know how to game the system, money is no problem to them. So essentially it just becomes a situation of they bought everything and they lost interest. But that's not the justification for it to be removed from their inventories. The justification to being removed is when they need to wipe the slate clean for stability's sake, and also for general refresher. And it's not just like people here or there, it's like everybody. But ships in game aren't really all that expensive anyway. Because the way I like to go about it is I buy the ships I really like on the store, and there are ships I like but I'm not willing to pay for, I'll just get in-game. But I mean, that's the sense of you willing to spend money in the game in the first place, like me. If you're not willing to spend money in the first place, you can just start with the starter ship and get your stuff that way. And there are ways for you to get new ships, more ships, pretty reasonably, decently, and whatnot. Could be better, but the nice thing about the whole wipe situation is, like I said before, is that they do it far and few between. They've been actually doing pretty good at not wiping the servers like they used to. In contrast to, let's say, 3, maybe 4 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, if even, every other major update would invoke a full wipe. Yeah, it was really bad. There was just no point of trying to work towards that ship that you want to buy in game. Like, let's say you want to buy the Caterpillar and it costs 4 million monies. When you finally get it, that's awesome. Oh, but wait, because you were you were doing your own thing, however you got that money, it took a while. And now it's time for the next major update to drop. Because that's just the cycle. Well, guess what? The ship that you just bought, that you finally worked towards, is gone. Yeah, people were very unhappy for the longest time with Star Citizen's early development because you just couldn't work towards anything. But now, with wipes being frequent as a blue moon, almost essentially, unless someone royally screws up the inventory system or the money. And I'm not talking about the devs, I'm talking about players. And that's when they would usually roll out a wipe. And that's why Star Citizen players in general despise people who dupe. Because people who duplicate items, duplicate things for money, who try to cheese the money system. Star Citizen players in general hate it because it means CIG is going to notice it. They're going to see there's a problem and that there's going to be a warrant for them to do a server wipe. And people don't want wipes. So, don't dupe. Don't cheat. Also, there's another reason why people dupe. I'm not going to get into it just yet because that's a whole can of worms that's not even okay for it to be going on. Anyways. It's really shitty that you don't keep your store-bought ships. I mean, your in-game ships versus your store-bought ships. But In a way, it makes sense because this game is still in active development. It's still early access, even though that saying has been beaten into the ground and turned into just atoms at this point. But, I mean, it's still subject to get wiped. And even though it's disheartening to know that a ship you work towards will basically get removed and taken away from you, eventually, because there are reasons why they do the wipes, it should not be a entirely dismantling of your motive to work towards something in this game, because that's how I see it. I still progress and try to work towards stuff because I want the fancy spaceships, and I know for a fact that they rarely at all do the wipes. But at the same time, I acknowledge that there is that chance of a wipe dropping, and if a wipe does drop, they really need a good reason for it. Because that'll just piss people off if they just wipe and it's like, oh, because we needed to wipe stuff for this reason that's really not all that big. It's like, you wiped our stuff for this. But thankfully we didn't have that kind of situation yet. Because every time they wiped, it was because someone either screwed up the economy, even though, what economy? Screwed up the whole economy with dupes, or they broke or acquired something that should not be there in the first place and started duplicating it. Or, not even talking about dupes, like a bug, probably like a bug might have broken something in the economy, and the only way for it to fix is a server wipe because there's just something stored somewhere that's causing it. And it's just weird. You get me? Like, it's just a occupational hazard. But at the same time, patience is the best virtue of all things, because even though it's nice to play now, if someone really wanted to play Star Citizen, but not want to put up with all this stuff, the wipes, the bad performance, the instability, and lack of stuff, it doesn't hurt to wait, you know? Like, that's why I always tell my friends whenever they're interested, but they don't like what Star Citizen has currently, or they don't like a certain thing about it. Like, I just tell them, you know what? I mean, you could just wait. That's what I would say. Because, like, I'm willing to play it now, but not everyone is willing to play it now. And Star Citizen is like a wine. It gets better over time. How these gems just fly all the way, hundreds of meters away, is funny. Alright, so we are halfway capacity. We got all the gems. I guess that is a good haul. We got halfway. So, Hadanite would, to my knowledge, Hadanite sold for like almost 200 something monies a piece. Like, money's a gem. With a half capacity rock bag, you could make around 100 something to 90 something thousand monies. Which is pretty good. For gem mining, at least. Alright, let's just depart. I need to get the heat suit or mine at a different location. Because, man, I like Aberdeen, but my goodness, it is scalding. Or scalding. But what I will do is... Oh, yeah. What I will do is I'm going to head to the bridge. I will head back to my hangar, retrieve my box of stuff, and then prep my tack for future deployment. Actually, here, you know what? I'm going to do a quick tour of the TAC. So I'll start with the bridge, and then I'll work my way back, and then down, and then back to the front and back to the cockpit. So here in the TAC, we got a nice bridge. Well, cockpit. I call it a bridge. It's a big ship. I like bridge anyway. Co-pilot seat, pilot seat, gunners. Would it say fore and aft gunner? It just says remote turret. Okay. The Doom 3 touchscreen panels. Yeah. So we got remote turrets. Oh, here, hang on. So here, this is a nice thing that they did finally for where's the power button? There we go. Turn it off, turn it on. There we go. The nice thing, finally, is that they added expanded capacitors or expanded capacity limits for turrets on ships. Which means instead of it being a measly like 30 rounds or something for 2 size 4 guns, it's now 115. Which is nice. And this is the front gun. Okay. That's nice. So in a way it's 6 forward-facing guns. But yeah, so that's the remote turret. These are remote turret stations. We got a little doohickey here. American Communications, a fuse. I need to buy fuses. They made fuses buyable in-game, but I have yet to find where they sell them. Got the computer. Someone stole my computer. Fire extinguisher that we can't mess with yet. Whatever these, just lights. We got the panel, 2-panel. So behind the bridge, we got escape pods that we can open. Can we close the door? No. That would be funny if you could trap your friends in there. Escape pods don't work yet. Just because someone 5 light years away, right? That's why you don't shoot your guns up in the air in real life, because bullets, what goes up must come down. And it's also turbo illegal because of that. So, life support. So we got the escape pods. Now we got this stuff. Someone stole all my things. This is the lift down to the bottom deck. So here is the crew quarters. You know, these may be just fancy digital assets in the end that I have no control, like no real possession of. I don't care, honestly, because it's what I like, that I was willing to spend money on. I like this. My little camper van. Like, got a trash can thing, sink. I'm going to guess this like some sort of cooktop sink thing. Another cooktop, I'm assuming. A fridge that opens. Ooh. I didn't know it opened. Fancy. We got a nice little table here. There's no windows to the top. Okay. 2 bathrooms. Bathroom, shower, toilet combo. Got a toilet and a shower. Now you can shit and shower. Shower while you shit. Oh, they made these grabbable now? I'm not going to grab that because I don't want to lose it. You got a weapon rack, same thing, same bathroom configuration. Oh, it's a different bottle though. Toilet, bathroom, sink, mirror with headless man. Gun rack that you can put guns into. Oh. That's cool. I like that they made the gun racks work functional. I just need to finagle it so I could get the pit. There we go. He's just stow that. And now here's the crew quarters. It's just bunks. 8 bunks total. Funny little screen. You know, I do like the... Wait. Do these bunks have panels? Oh, that would be so cool if they had little... No, I don't see it. Nah, never mind. I thought it had little shutters that closed down. The Headless Spaceman. Curse of the Headless Spaceman. So we go back here. Little hallway. Doohickeys. Pipes. Lifts down to the cargo bay. We'll go to the engine room. Engineering. This is engineering. Laser beam tubes. Every sci-fi ship has to have at least one laser beam tube. You back? No, you didn't miss much. I'm just doing a quick tour of the TAC before I head back to my main hangar. Components. I like the little circular lock thing. Component access here. I like that they add little doors for the fuses. Shields. Stuff. Am I gonna... No, I already own the TAC. I upgraded one of my ships to it. And honestly, I really like it. Though it is very expensive. And I highly recommend if you want a TAC and you don't want to splunk triple digits on a single thing, or you don't have a ship to upgrade it to, just buy it in game when it comes available, really. Or maybe it might come rentable. That would be nice. Rent a TAC. But we got the little snub fighter bay. So I used to own a Constellation Andromeda. The Asgard. I heard about the Asgard. It sounds interesting. I think tomorrow's Anvil Day, if I'm not mistaken. That's going to be pretty cool. Yeah, I'm doing dual streaming. I'm streaming to both YouTube and Twitch. I just don't know how to do the chat stuff like the fancy streamers do. At least not yet. I'm going to figure it out eventually. So yeah, we got the little hangar bay. But yeah, I used to own a Constellation Andromeda. I love the Andromeda. That was my baby. Except for my Reclaimer and Carrot. But I really like the Andromeda because it was a medium-sized, large ship that was very versatile, had good firepower, combat capabilities, and it was very versatile. It was a generally good, well-rounded ship. But then I saw the features that were on the TAC. I already love the Starlancer Max. So I did some CCU finagling and got myself a TAC. But in the process, I had to sacrifice my Constellation Andromeda so I could get back the Max. I like the Max because, you know, it has the 200-something SUs of cargo for a ship of its size. It's really nice. I kind of don't want to get rid of it. Plus, I like the features that it has. So I have a TAC and a Max. But with the Constellation, it lost to the TAC because the features, not stats, features are pretty neck and neck. The Constellation has 4 size 4 guns and 2 turrets, manned, granted, and a snub fighter and 96 units of cargo. The TAC has 2 remote turrets, 2 side-mounted manned turrets, and 4 size 4 guns for the pilot, along with a similar complement of missile capacity. I'm going to assume it's not as much as the Constellation. But then it also has a little snub fighter. It doesn't come with one, you have to buy one separate, but its hangar bay for this. It has an internal hangar bay for the Fury, which is up there, which is nice. Protects the snub fighter, and also you don't have to rely on janky docking, ship-to-ship docking mechanisms. Got the Corsair and you're gonna melt it for the Asgard. I need to see the Asgard. When Anvil Day comes out, I'm going to check the Asgard out, but I'm most likely not going to get it because I spent a reasonable amount of money this time around, especially on Misk Day. Let's just say I got the MX, the Guardian MX. I upgraded all my ships to it. Regretted the decision because one of the main reasons why I upgraded to get the MX is looks aside. I wanted it because it looked nicer than the Guardian QI, and Solo's player and those ships give me more weapons to pilot. Yeah. And I completely sympathize. I like the Solo ships too. I'm going to be one of those people who is going to fly a capital ship like the Polaris by themselves when engineering comes live, and I'm going to be basically a one-man crew of, oh, I'm flying the ship, oh, systems are breaking down, I'm going to go fix those systems. You get the idea. It's not optimal, but it's not impossible. It's not ideal, but I'm willing to put up with it because it's what I want to do. But with the I did not like the MX. The MX is nice, but the reason why I don't like it is because one of the main reasons. Oh yeah, so the TAC has a medical bay. Switching it quickly back to the Constellation versus TAC. The TAC is bigger, but the TAC also has a little mini, and it's pretty nice, medical bay, along with having the same amount of cargo capacity as the Constellation. I ordered for the MX, but I was in Pyro yesterday and obliterated a couple, so it's not worth it to me. Yeah, honestly, the Guardians aren't really all that hot stuff, if that makes sense. And heck, I was even asking people about like the Scorpius versus the Hornets, the Super Hornet, and also versus the Guardian. People were saying the Super Hornet Mark IIs are just better in every way almost to the Guardians because the Guardians are more slower. They have more firepower capacity. Like the DPS is higher, I'm going to assume, because the 2 size 5s and the MX has the 4 size 4s. But it doesn't really mean much if your enemy is just going to dance around you, because I kind of struggle in Arena Commander when I fly my Guardian. And with my MX, I just did not like it because I found out you can't park it in the Polaris hangar. And that was one of the main reasons why I kept my Guardian QI and why I upgraded my Guardian QI to the MX. Because I thought you could park the MX in the Polaris. But you can't. Because if you do, it's going to start bouncing and jiggling around because the hangar doors are compressing it down into the ship. And we all know that's big bad when you play Star Citizen, because Star Citizen doesn't handle physics well. And the MX will most likely explode at some point. So it's like, upgrading to the MX was a big mistake. Because I was willing to put up with the loss of the little crew cabin on the inside and the amenities like the bathroom and the bathroom and sleeping bed and sink and kitchenette or whatever. I was willing to put up with that sacrifice for the MX because it just looked awesome. Wait till you see the Asgard, 190 cargo. You won't need the MX or any heavy fighter. Hornet has 2 size 4s and 3 size 3s. I melted. Alright, so here's the thing. I melted my Super Hornet and my Geo, my Atlas Geo, so I could get a CCU upgrade to upgrade my Starfarer Gemini to the Perseus, because I want the Perseus when it comes out later this year. But in the showroom. They took it out. I don't know. It's still Mist Day. If the Asgard is a Anvil ship, I'm going to assume it's going to come out on Anvil Day. I saw videos of it, I think. It's the white ship with the arched... it looks like a different variant of a Valkyrie in a way, right? But, it looks neat. I'm going to have to check it out when it comes out. But... yeah, I regretted the decision to upgrade to the MX. I got my Guardian QI back, but at the expense of having to melt the CCU I got for my Perseus to upgrade my Gemini to the Perseus. I don't like that I had to melt the CCU for the Perseus, but it is what it is, and it's in my buyback. So I'm going to make it a point to where I could try and eventually get it back, and maybe also get my Super Hornet back. Trademark when? Eventually, at some point. Can you grab these? I like that they have carrot handlebars. No, but yeah, so back to the tour of the tech is that we got a little medical bay. Moving on from the medical bay, we have a nice little drop seat bay for people who wants to jump out in combat. Look at that, it has a little graphical display down there. I don't need the Hornet for PvP, but I really like the Hornet though. Especially the Mark IIs. They really nailed the looks on the Mark IIs. They're so good. So good looking. That's why I got myself a Super Hornet. I love the Super Hornet Mark I. It made sense to get the Mark II Super, and I did, and I love it. And I missed it already. But it's in the buyback. I will get it back eventually one day. Also, one cool thing about the TAC that I really like is that you get a little side door gunner. I'm gonna go. And then you just put it away. But they really do need to make these little deployable ramps climbable, so that way players who use these as like a means of getting on or getting back on the ship can actually clamber up like they did with the Cutlass Blacks, with the Cutlass series. They really need to address that part. So we go from the jump seat area to the side gunners. This ship is really cool. Like, people were making comments of how the TAC is trying to kill and replace the Redeemer because, oh no, it has 2 turrets with size 5 guns. It's like, I get the idea, but the Redeemer does stuff completely different, though. It's like, the guns are more tactically, like, the guns are better tactically wise for the Redeemer, forward-facing firepower and stuff. For my fast travels in PvP, the Asgard for cargo and firepower. That's no more money. You know what? That makes sense. Because if, I mean, 190 SC is a cargo. Okay, why is my side? Why is one gun not working? Maybe if I switch firing modes. That's a bug. Really nasty bug. That's unfortunate. But 115 rounds for the turret is not bad. But yeah, firepower plus 190 SUs of cargo capacity, that's pretty good. I do like the side guns. The Redeemer is more of a escort slash gunship to me. I do find the decision of them removing replacing the size 5s with size 4s questionable, but in a way it kind of makes sense with them doing the power stuff. If the power plant that the Redeemer had could not support the firepower, it makes sense for it to just bump down the firepower instead of making weird changes to the components that probably couldn't be changed at this point. One thing I don't like about the TAC versus the Max is that it's all suit lockers in here. There's no weapon locker, no fancy bench. I like my fancy bench. First up by in-game, the raft and the medic terrapin is all I need. Agreed. Oh, I do like the medical terrapin. I haven't flown it yet, but I've always liked the terrapins from the get-go. The terrapins are just nice. Like a tanky little scout ship. The tech has a lot of wasted space. Oh, trust me, there are worse wasted space offenders that they put out. Honestly, the MX. I'm going to go back to the MX again. Honestly, I think they could have kept the bed if they squeezed those components together better. Because they added an extra power plant and an extra shield, I think. But they sacrificed the internal... You know what? When I get back to the hangar, I'll show you. Because I do not like that. Like, I like my amenities, the camper van situation. It's a personal preference. Don't have to get that ship, but I mean... Hey, buddies. I was really disappointed. They goofed it on purpose for both variants. I find it hard to believe they did it on purpose, but in a way, I kind of see the logic in that. Which is disappointing for both scenarios. Like, honestly, I think where they messed up with the MX is just making it too chunky. It's just way too chunky, honestly. Flight performance, I mean, it's a heavy fighter. I'm willing to put up with clunky flight performances. I fly big ships all the time, and like sluggish maneuverability and speed tracking doesn't really bother me much as long as the firepower is worth it. You know, the tankiness or the firepower. And it just feels like the MX is, I don't know. I do like the Guardian, the QI Guardian. I can see it being pretty useful in certain scenarios. Like, it doesn't have to be head-to-head competitors with, like, the Hornet or the Scorpius. It just needs to perform in a role or do something, right? Like, the Scorpion Centauri's. We don't really like to talk about the Antares because that's a whole thing in itself, isn't it? But both ships can do quantum interdiction, or I mean quantum dampening. There's a difference. And one ship is solo while the other ship is multi-crew. One ship has 2 size 5s, the other has 4 size 3s. But one is more maneuverable, and I'm going to assume faster than the other. Scorpius being faster and whatnot. There has to be some trade-offs. The ships need to be unique. They could be similar in purpose, similar in role, but unique. That's why it just, like, digs a nail into me when someone says, oh, it's this ship is to replace this ship, or that ship, or it's this ship killer, or that killer. It's like, not really. Like, if you want to talk in a min-max kind of sense, like, yeah, I guess so. But at the same time, that's kind of like how things are in real life when it comes to cars, trucks, ships. Boat ships, I mean. Planes. Heck, in World War II, there was a whole butt ton of fighters that basically did the same thing very similarly, just in different ways. Like, some, like, just some did it better in certain ways than others. It's kind of like how it is in this game now. Like, it makes sense for there to be similarities between the brands. And I mean, if anything, you use the cop-out of, oh, this company's doing this thing, so this company wants to do it that way now, too. By the existence of the Hornets, even constellations. Ooh, yeah.
I'm just more of the has to be worth my money.
You know what? Yeah. I mean, you're not wrong, really. There is a meta. CIG have stated before that they don't want metas in their game, but in a way, they are kind of permitting metas. Like, heck, wasn't the Gladius like one of the notorious meta ships when it comes to PvP, alongside with the Hornet Mark IIs? Like, when you go into Arena Commander and you try to square off with someone, almost 80 to 75% of the time it would be either a Gladius or a Hornet. I mean, I get it. I know why they would use those ships. Those are good ships. But with metas and min-maxing, there's just little to no diversity. And I like diversity. I mean, just because I like something doesn't mean it is the way it is. Because I do like the Hornets. The Hornets' combat performance are good. But CIG needs to address the issues regarding the other ships in the combat roster, heavy fighters included. I like to use real life examples when it comes to like heavy fighter, medium fighter, light fighter, and whatnot classifications, because it makes sense, right? And I play War Thunder a lot, and there's just a lot of that going on in War Thunder, because they're real things. Like, there's no, well, a little bit. Get out of here, go! I don't want to see no dang old chat thing here. Hang on, let me address this rant. Like, first time chat, I don't care. Let's see. Chat settings? No. Mod view. Oof. Here, let me see if I could. There we go. Amber. No. How do I? I figured it out one time. I just can't figure out how to do it now. Pin this message? No. Community? No. Chat pilot mod view. Turn on shield mode. Chat settings. How do I? It's whatever. Just ignore that one repeating process Bonduli thing, whatever. Don't get me wrong, I love the look of the Scorpius and MX, but I can't spend money on looks. Yeah. I completely agree. Like, if you buy it, like, someone made a good point when I was asking about what ship I should fly out for my Polaris, like load onto my Polaris and fly it out and whatnot. I was asking between the Scorpius versus the Hornet. And people were suggesting, if you want to do PvE, run the Hornet. But if you want to do PvP, run the Scorpius. The Scorpius solo is terrible, but if you have another player with you, the Scorpius becomes a beast, and I can see where they're coming from, because the Hornet, the turret with the 4 guns, yeah. If the gunner knows what they're doing and pilot and gunner are communicating, yeah, I can see how it could outclass a Hornet or a Gladius. And to be fair, if you are buying a ship, like let's say you're into PvP and you're buying a ship because you want to do PvP stuff, and you're not really all that interested in other finagly bits, yeah, I mean, spend money where you deem it more worth your while. Like me, I'm a multitasker. I'm more generalized. I like just dipping into a little bit of everything, and I like to collect things anyway, too. I'm a ship collector. And I like to have a little bit of everything. Dabble here, dabble there. So I'm a little bit more loosey-goosey when it comes to buying ships. The Hurricane also is a beast with co-pilot. Yes, it is. The Scorpius and the Hurricane, yeah. But it is an underlying problem that CIG faces right now. But I think they are aware of this issue, of how light fighters are basically dominating PvP, while PvE is a little bit more forgiving in terms of you could just use almost anything for PvE. Almost trade, like, is heavily emphasized on almost. But with PvP, it's a little bit more tricky, and I believe that they are aware of the situation. But the way I see it, they can't address it now because they decided to basically balance things later than now because they still have features that they want to put in that will affect the balance again, like with the new damage model. What's it called? Maelstrom? Sounds cool, but I mean, that's just another feature we gotta wait for balance to come in. Like, another thing that's gonna affect balance one day is gonna be ship armor. Like, if people think that the Gladius is a little tricky little bugger now, it's probably gonna be a little bit more trickier later because Aegis is the ship manufacturer that loves slapping armor on their ships. I mean, that's just my assumption that I got back in the day when I was looking through all those details. But there's going to be ship armor, engineering, Maelstrom, and some other things I can't remember off of the top of my head that's going to affect balance. And I completely understand why they would basically say, if it's PvP with bigger ships, yes. Heavy fighter like Scorpius and MX will be amazing to have, but my experience, that's rare. I get medium fighter counters more. Yeah, I mean, because a lot of people like to solo fly and stuff. And plus, why, like, it's another argument that I hear a lot brought up when it comes to balance and multi-crew versus single fighter and whatnot, and it makes sense, and that is, why bother crew up with someone? Oh, come on now. Maybe I could get it with the tractor beam. No, but yeah, like, why bother going through the hassle of getting a gunner for your ship when you could just bring 2 ships? It's a debacle. Because bringing 2 ships is better than just bringing 1 ship with a gunner. Oh, he just doesn't want to comply. You know what? Fine.
Want to try it out?
You know, if you want to try it out, I think you can probably still rent it if you go to the show hall. Because I believe all the ships that have been on display up until this point are rentable to this point for free. So if anything, you could just go to the convention hall and go rent a Scorpius for the day, try it out in some missions, maybe throw it into some PvP and see how you like it. Because it is a really nice looking ship. That's one of the kickers that I find with the whole Scorpius situation. Versus the Hornet, for example, it's a nice ship, but it falls short. Oh, and it is buyable in game. Yeah, you can buy it in game. I believe. Yeah, you can buy it at Lorville. Yeah. Baron, no mission. Just go there. Yeah, do it. No, but yeah. Oh, come on. There has to be a way for me to get this without destroying my vehicle. Maybe I have to be on there? I don't know. But yeah, I blown it a little bit when it first came out, because, you know, upgrade to it and then upgrade it to something else later. But it's nice. It flies nice. It's decent. But CIG has really put themselves in a little conundrum when it comes to balance. I don't know if you were here when or before they added the capacitors and various other things. Oh, here, one sec. I gotta step away really quick. I has returned. Let's see if I could get this box. I think I might have to end up destroying the Argo SRV. Or maybe not. No, I will. I will have to destroy it to get the box. I will try one thing first. But back to the conversation on the heavy fighters and just general overall fighter balance. They put themselves in a pickle because they are waiting for the big things to basically fall into place before they actually touch it, because I understand that. Like, why balance it now when you add this new system in that's going to require you to rebalance everything all over again? It's just simpler for you to just wait until everything's in place and then you balance it all at once, so that way you don't have to do it over and over and over from the ground up every single time. It makes sense in a development standpoint. But it's annoying for us because we have to put up with all that stuff. But it is what it is. And it's ultimately not all that bad. With the big ships, especially the ones that require multi-crew to operate, like the gunners situations and stuff, they did address the problem a little bit. They didn't fix it, but they addressed it a little bit, which is better than nothing. And that is, they gave the turrets for almost all ships who have turrets a capacitor increase. So, like, I'm going to use the Polaris, for example. Now, instead of going from... These are just very generalized numbers. Instead of going from 12 rounds, like 9 to 10 rounds for the guns, for the dorsal guns, I mean, those are 4 size 4 Omni Sky cannons with 9 shots each. They, with the new upgrade, or with the new buff, those guns now have a capacity of, I believe, 100-something rounds. That's pretty good. You can actually shoot it like a real turret now, which is good. And I'm seeing the same results on other ships too. Okay, yeah, this thing is borked. But with heavy fighters, in my opinion, need to do things a certain way versus medium and lights. Light fighters, what do you do in the Polaris, by the way? Oh, I just use it as a glorified gem mining mobile base. I like to do gem mining, and I use the Polaris as like a sort of like mobile base of operations. Alright, let's see if this works. If not, I'll just drive the Argo away a little bit and then blow it up to get my box. My role, it's just me. Because the people I play with aren't on all the time. So it's just me whenever I play. And I don't always run in my Polaris by myself, because I fly other ships too. It's just, I like to fly my Polaris because it's fancy, it's nice. I really like it. Oh, come on now. Okay, yeah, this is gonna get exploded now. It is what has to be done. I don't know if it's going to destroy the container, but we'll find out. Hi, babies. What I like doing in Star Citizen is mostly just PvE content. PvP doesn't really fancy me, honestly. It stresses me out. It gives me heart palpitations because it's stressful. Gives me high blood pressure. Not because it's bad and I'm not having a good time. I get the same feeling when I play War Thunder and stuff. But in Star Citizen, even before and even with the Tier 0 stuff, it's not my fancy. It's not my cup of tea. I will shoot someone if they mess with me, though. And that's another reason why I don't partake in PvP, that is, I'm not good. Skill issue. Fair enough. Is there good money in mining? I never tried it. I came to Tarkov and War Thunder, so this game is a dream. I concur. Though, one thing that probably will ruffle your feathers is I do not like the idea of Star Citizen being a space Tarkov. But that's just me personally. If that is what the developers envision, I guess it's what it is, because ultimately they have the final say. But I would prefer a more in between mix, if that makes sense. Like, not make it not Tarkov, but not make it Tarkov at the same time. Like a little, like, not entirely, like, fully immersive. Like some arcade elements to cater to casual players who don't have time and patience to deal with those kinds of stuff. Oh, now the guns are working. But yeah, you can make some pretty decent money with with mining. Oh boy, full magazine. Like honestly, it just depends really. Like there we go. Well, I have shields. Okay. Argo destroyed. Yeah, I agree. I do like some of the elements in Tarkov. It's just, I think some people are really, like, trying to push CIG to add, literally make Star Citizen Space Tarkov, and that's where I'm like, no, don't make it that way, because I kind of want this game to be a little bit for everybody. That's just me personally. And Tarkov, even though it's a popular and, dare I say, successful game, it's not everyone's cup of tea. Okay, this ship is destroyed now. Why is it... Why is it not blown up? I guess I gotta shoot it more. Because I do like some of the elements in Tarkov. If the PvE mode for Tarkov was not blocked behind a $50 paywall, I would probably buy into Tarkov and play it on the PvE side of things. Because I'm a PvEer. I like PvE. I also like PvP being part of Star Citizen. But, I mean, game's still early. They're still figuring out what they're trying to do. Alright, let's try this again. Man, they made a little spawn of demon, didn't they?
The target was rather just the PvP and looting. But that's most games.
Yeah, I agree. This thing will not yield my container. Okay, how am I gonna do this? Because I need that container on my ship. Or you know what? I'm gonna go over to my little inventory thing and pull out the big tractor beam. Making our mining rough estimate. Well, it's a very hard estimate, but like let's say I'm mining for Hadanite. I'm just gonna go with Hadanite because that's what I'm familiar with, and that's gem mining. Clusters aren't rare, but they aren't abundant anymore either. So finding Hadanite isn't really all that easy anymore. So let's say you find a cluster every 30 minutes or something like that. That's if you're really lucky. And the cluster can probably give you, let's say, what if I just do this? The cluster gives you, like, let's say a 25% capacity, and you keep filling your rock. Now, I don't know if they increase the capacity of the rock saddle, but before the 4.0 mining changes, the rock with half a load of Hadanite would net you around 90 something monies, credits. And with the full box, it was around 2 to 300,000. It's not bad. There is better money to be had though, but if you don't have the money for a prospector, you could probably get a golem actually, but if you don't have the money for a prospector, but you want to get into the mining, you could just get yourself a rock, and if you have a ship that could carry it, like a Cutlass Black or so, you can probably make some decent money doing that. All right, let's see what that did. All right, so it ate the box. That's a good thing. So I would say around 90 to maybe 100,000 an hour if you're lucky. But I will put this as like a sort of disclaimer. They have released new gems into the game, which have saturated the gem spawns a little bit. Where is my container now? I'm just going to assume it's this one. It's not a lot at all, but like if you're like a starter player or a player who's just trying to mess around while also making some money on the side, it's not bad money. Could be better though. I know you can make some pretty serious money if you do Quantanium mining with the Prospector, Golem, or Argo Mole. Oh no, it ate my thing. Fine. It's okay. It was filled with stuff that had abundance anyway. Just more time. But yeah, I think you could rake in around like a mil or something with actual mining, maybe? Here, I can ask Global Chat. How much money can you rake in hourly with gem mining? Let's see what they say. Because they most likely will have a better answer than me. Because I'm only going based off of my personal experiences. Some may have better experiences, some may have worse. Millions. Gem mining is pretty decent. That's not bad. That's pretty okay, I guess. I mean, it's not exact numbers, but it could be worse, I guess. Who knows? Alright. The inventory system is working. I gotta buy another suit. Oh, no. Okay. Now it's working. Sigh. I have to go get another Pembroke suit. I guess I'll go do that really quick. Because I'm trying to set the tack up for gem mining later. Because I want to hop off at some point here soon. Before I, you know. Elevator has been called. Though, I did hear you can make some pretty good money doing the bounty hunter missions. The HRTs or ERHTs or whatever. Extremely high risk target missions. I heard you could rake in a lot of money doing those. Especially back to back. If you have a ship with a decent cargo capacity, you could also make decent money doing hauling missions too. It's a little bit more lethargic than PvP, this dead guy, but it's still pretty decent money. Like it's almost the lowest I've seen for a hauling contract or however much cargo it will be, because it just varies, is around 40,000 a mission, and that's for a single mission. You could, in theory, because that's what I do too, is you could take stacks of these missions, and if you have a ship with a sizable cargo capacity that could carry all the cargo that you need to deliver, you could rake in almost hundreds of thousands, if not millions. Well, realistically, hundreds of thousands. Which is most likely better than gem mining, if you want to get down to the min-maxing, money-making stuff. No map, the region. Scanning work now? I have no idea.
I maxed into ERTs, good money in your Polaris with at least one gunner.
Yeah, the Ching gun, I'm gonna assume. The Ching gun is nice now. I mean, it was nice before, but it's nice that they gave it a buff. Because when it came to fighting bigger ships than a single seat fighter, it felt like it was a pea shooter for what kind of gun it was. At least personally, is what I thought. Especially when I saw it fighting other Polarises, or even other big ships. It looked like the gun seemed like a pea shooter. Even though it was doing a lot of damage. I mean, it just goes to show how much health a lot of these ships have. Which is okay. I'm not going to complain about that. And it is nice that they gave it a buff, because not only did they buff the damage, but they also buffed the ammo capacity.
I can make about 2 mil an hour, 2 to 4.
That's nice. Honestly. Though, I believe that's in Pyro. I'm not really much of a Pyro go-getter. Because I am a basic bitch. I like to be in Stanton where it's nice and safe, even though that's where all the trolls like to stay anyway. Heck, from what I heard from a lot of people, based off of their experiences, it's safer to be in Pyro in some regards. Buy. Here, I'm gonna buy another one. Can I buy the helmet? No. The helmet's not there. Though I do want to go to Pyro and just conduct a expedition and explore. That would be nice. Okay, yes. I need armor. Helmets. Plus, I like to go shopping in the store sometimes. And I do like that they buffed the Polaris' shields. Didn't they give the Polaris a health buff as well? Or no? Just the shields? Because I am aware that they gave the Polaris a maneuverability and speed nerf. Unfortunate as that is, even though it goes against its ship description, but it's whatever. It's an up and down thing. Everything goes up and down. I'm a naked man running around doing the naked man things. Oh yeah, more lived in. I want to do an expedition. You know, one thing I really want CIG to do, and I think this will probably help address the murder hobo stuff too a little bit, of the shoot first and consider about asking questions later, and that is address the little video call thing or whatever. Make it to where we could call other players while they're in their ships to either have a chat, a talk, or a one-on-one negotiation situation. Because I could guess that since you like PvP, would it be nice for you to be able to, let's say you're going to jump some random person who you managed to scan down, they have some nice stuff on board. Wouldn't it be nice for you to be able to, I don't know, talk to them and persuade them to give you some of their cargo in exchange to you sparing them? Something that kind of happens in EVE all the time, where you get held at ransom, and if you don't pay, you get blown up. If you pay, you get spared. That doesn't really happen here in Star Citizen. It's just, oh, there's another player. Shoot to kill. It's like, oh, I want their stuff. Shoot to kill. I want their ship. Shoot to kill. And blow up the ship anyway, even though I wanted to fly it. It's like, this, I heard someone say, a zero trust environment. You don't have to trust another player, but, I mean, to be able to, you know, talk to them and verbally negotiate them to them would be nice. Like how they do it in Sea of Thieves, where it's a little blowhorn thing, megaphone. Just being able to actually get a reliable means of talk to them, even if it is text chat, like direct link text chat communications, to where only you and them can talk. Worth it unless I'm in the giggles usually. It's not to kill, it's for the money. You want to clear it out before you land. Yeah, and I honestly I think that's one of the big issues with Star System when it comes to most PvP engagements. Because if Star Citizen, CIG want to make death a very punishing thing, you would think that they would try and make and implement systems to encourage sparing players' lives, so that way it's in the best interest that a firefight doesn't break out. Like, to negotiate a situation to where it suits both parties, even though the person you're pirating is at a severe disadvantage and is being, you know, linchpinned. But it's just not worth people's time. Like, kind of prove my point of it's just not worth it, right? Yeah, not worth it unless I'm in the giggles usually. And that's one of the reasons why I don't really care for PvP, really, because I guess I played other games that offer different experiences when it comes to these types of games, where if someone comes up to me, they'll hold, like, if, like, let's say I'm doing something, they'll tell me to either leave, give them money, or, hey, I'm gonna kill you because you're stupid and stinky, and I want to kill you. It's just some sort of communication that goes on, I guess. Like, it's not entirely important, but I would think it would help a little bit. It's not a solution end-all be-all, but it would probably enhance some things, make for some funny moments, maybe. Backpack. Box backpack. Unsuitable backpack, but it's what I have. I got a lot of those silver gloss. Oh yeah, that's right. That's all my stuff. If you want to raid, then you can. It's fun. It's just hard to find people, let alone full of loot. Pyro is big. Yeah. Oh, I need more ammo. I'm just grabbing my loot, re-equipping it. I'll bring the knife. Though I am going to stow the F-55 magazine. Like, I think PvP is in a pretty decent spot overall, but there are major conflictions with the PvP and PvE communities. I think it has one part with both sides wanting different things for the same reason, I guess. Like, they want the game to be in their way while also enhancing the game. Like, we all want the game to be good. Like, even though I'm on the side of PvE, PvP has its place in Star Citizen. It belongs in it. Like, to address Stanton's issue with just so much PvP going on, and that is well, unlawful PvP, I guess. That they need to bring in systems where it's actually consequences are brought upon you if you shoot a guy and whatnot. And I'm not talking about like, oh, you got a crime stat, oh, you got a player bounty on you now. Like, no, you should be engaged and attacked by NPCs in certain areas. But I know when to shoot and not to shoot most of the time. If I'm in the Hornet and other dudes in the non-fighter, I land next to them, chat, and finish mission and dip. That's nice, yeah. I like to hear and see that happen in this game. That's really good. And that's why I tell people, when it comes to Star Citizen, the game's pretty good about that. Oh yeah, that's right, because it's an Arclight magazine. Where is it? There it is. Just grab my ammo really quick. I'm gonna keep my knife on me. There we go. Now I can put this onto the tech and stow the tech for later. But honestly, cool things are coming for both PvP and PvE in this game. Just cool things in general are coming for this game. It's very exciting. Heck, I saw, it was just in the thumbnail, but it speaks volumes of, it was an image within the thumbnail of them showing the radioactivity symbol on a image leak from the Evocati test play for 4.2. And people are essentially alleging that radiation and radiation damage / poisoning is coming in to the next patch. Which is really cool. I like that. It's going to be awesome. Because it's going to make Pyro actually dangerous to be in. I mean, it's already dangerous with, you know, random people and stuff, but makes it even more dangerous and makes it more thrilling. Good thing I didn't shoot my side gun. Alright, time to close up. I like the tech, I really do. I heard somewhere that the health on this ship is a little bit on the fragile side because it's been distributed all weird like. Maybe it's a bug or an unintended feature. And CIG might address it later, but I mean, have I tried the contested zones? Nah, because I'm not really all that into PvP. It's not really my cup of tea. I have been to Pyro though. It's pretty cool. I like it. But the reason why I don't go to Pyro is because I don't care for PvP. I know better than to go to Pyro because that's where the stuff that would make me frustrated and whatnot, if I do go. It's like the situation of those people. Remember when contested zones came out and PvEers were like crying to CIG like, why are you locking game content behind PvP? It's like, why not? Like, what's the problem here? Like, PvP has been pretty much neglected for a good few years, and it's nice to see that it's finally getting some nice goodies and rewards and incentives. I mean, it's Pyro. If you don't like PvP, stay out of Pyro. And that's basically my stance on it is, because I don't like PvP, I don't go to Pyro much because it's like, you can't, what's the saying? You can't complain about the sun being hot if you stand outside in the sun. It's probably not a very good analogy. Or, if you can't handle the heat, you have to get out of the kitchen. Massive hanger for that comparatively little ship. But I have seen videos of people doing contested zone stuff, and it looks really cool. Frankly, I want to try the new laser satellite mining thing, whatever. But I got a feeling it's something that you can't do by yourself. Which is disappointing, because I don't play with people often. Both because I like playing solo and also because people I play with aren't on all the time. It's what it is. Yeah, I believe you. But in a way, it's similar to, like, I'm going to use EVE Online for a quick example. It's kind of like what people would say with the nullsec in EVE Online. It's more rewarding, it's more fulfilling, but it's also more riskier. I mean, we don't lose our gear anymore. It's whatever. I personally like it, but I still don't like dying. I try my best to do everything but to die. I'm learning checkmate. It's fun. Ooh, that's nice. But I see Pyra as the nullsec of Star Citizen. There's no laws, no nothing. It's all, player and pirate organized. It's pretty cool. But there are elements of it that don't really appeal to me. Even though it is... Oh, what are they doing? What are they doing? They're freaking out by that armed guard and this dead man on the ground. But yeah, it's like kind of like nullsec. I might go there once in a while to check it out, but when I do, I expect to die in the fullest sense because I'm not very experienced or skilled when it comes to PvP and player engagement. Because, I don't really do it very much, and I like cooperation over confliction. It's just me. But it is nice. Here, before I head out, you said you were wanting to buy the Scorpius, and I'm going to assume in-game. So here, before I head out, I'll find the Scorpius's price tag. If you can't remember off the top of your head. And it seems... Oh, yeah, here it is. 5.4 is actually, I guess, not that bad. If you're doing ERTs, and you say you're doing like 2 to 4 mil an hour, you could get this thing easy. That's very good. I like this thing. Look how nice the Scorpius is. It's sleek. It's angular. It's cool and smooth. It's very, very nice. But I think that's going to do it for this stream. And I'm very pleased to have some active users in the chats for once. Yeah, I'm ending the stream here soon. Certainly not Flip. Well, if I did salvage more often, money would not be an issue for me either. I have a reclaimer, and I like to go to the Aaron Halo to scrap salvage panels, and that makes significantly way more money than rock mining with almost as much probability chance of finding panels as you do with the gems. But I like doing the rock mining more. It's just more fun for some reason. Like, both are nice, but yeah. I'm very glad to hear that you guys like it, because even though I don't stream often, I do try to put effort into it, And it's nice to get people who are actual people and not robots or solicitors trying to peddle their artistic services. Like, if I want an overlay or some sort of graphical thing for my stream, I would make it myself because I have that kind of ability. Like, I'm not a graphic designer, but I could at least whip something up, even though it probably won't be as good. But I made it, and it'll make me happy. How to get 135k every 2 minutes. Oh, I believe you. That's the thing about Pyro. Like, just like in EVE Online with nullsec. Even though it's riskier, the rewards are really up there. It's the risk versus reward. Me, I'm a more of a sampler kind of person. When I play EVE Online, I usually just fly in my battleship, pick up a level 3, like level 2 or 3 security mission, and blow up some pirates. And I'm like, yes, This is making my brain feel happy. Okay, I'm done. I am do this. I've satisfied my need to play. And I can believe that too. Alright, so I will conclude the stream, but I do plan on streaming more often if I get the time. So I might see you again in the next stream. So you guys have a good one.